Welcome back to the channel. And it is your first time coming across this channel, you're very welcome. You're at the right place and you're most welcome. So today I'm not going to waste time. I'm not going to waste time at all. I'm going to get on right to the point. And what is the topic of discussion? It's not even a discussion. This is just me sitting here talking to you about my experiences so that you may learn from it. And I am sitting here today with so much confidence because I've realized that there are people who are actually implementing some of the things that I share on this channel. Number one, there is a teacher who is a former classmate of mine whom showed me pictures of her shop. If you're watching this, I'm very glad that you are inspired. Sometimes we do things that we don't even know has impact on other people until you get feedback and then you realize, okay, looks like I'm on the right track. And if one or two people should should gain something from these editions by just me sitting here and talking to the camera, then why not? I'll keep doing it. So now she showed me pictures of her shop, and she said she actually attested that she started her shop after seeing these editions about a small retail shop that I put on this channel. I'd like to share things that I wish I knew before I started a small retail shop. And these things I want to share because I feel like they're going to be of importance to you. If you are starting your small retail shop journey, then sit down, take a glass of water, and give me your ears. So, thing one, the first thing that I wish I knew is that I wish I just started. I wish I didn't panic so much about how is it going to be. Will I really get customers? Will I sell? Will the business survive? Oh, how I wish I just started. And that is for you. If you feel like you want to start a small retail shop, please just start. Just start. You know what I did? I wasted a lot of time just panicking and waiting for the right moment. I don't even know what I was waiting for. Then, three-quarter of the time, I used to go to other people's shops. And most of the time it was difficult because getting to a stranger and then you want to start asking them things about how can I start a small retail shop. It is human nature that people don't are not very receptive. There's a group of people that are receptive to strangers, especially who can actually be kind enough to answer your questions. But majority of the people are not very comfortable about a stranger coming into their business, and then you start asking very sort of personal questions just because you feel like you want to start a small retail shop. So I actually wasted a lot of time trying to interview people and asking them, how did you start? How much capital did you use? Do you think this much capital is going to be enough for the business? It's a waste of time. Knowing what I know right now, I should have just started. Yeah, as much as I started with whatever I had, it took me a lot of time, just wasting time trying to find out within myself if this really is going to work. Yeah, but now that I'm quite older now in the business, I just feel like I should have just started. Yeah. So you just start. Don't ask so many questions. What do I stock? How much money do I? Just start. Get it from me. Just start. The second thing that I wish I knew before I started is that I should have had more faith in little profits. I should have had more faith in little profits because why do I say this? When I started, I had it in mind that running a small retail shop would actually give me very small profits. So I started with a little bit of hesitation. But then now I've learned that small profits add on to big profits. If you make 10 shillings today, then you make another 10 shillings tomorrow, and so on and so forth up to a period of 7 days. How much money do you have? You have 70 shillings. If you are not running a small retail shop in the first place, you will not have the 70 shillings, and you have needs. It means that if you have a need and you do not have a small source of income, however small, you will end up having to borrow money from somewhere. And that is actually what my life was initially before I started this. I had debts. We all know that we are living at under very stringent times right now. Economically, in Kenya, it is just near impossible right now. But Even before that, I used to have a lot of debts. And if you live in Kenya, you know that mobile money, mobile, what are they called? These lenders, small lenders who give you money, small loans on your phone. They're actually a tap away, you know. I cannot mention their names, but there are myriad. There are very many. If you live in Kenya and you're a you actually know what I'm talking about. I had loans. I'll just mention them. I had loans on Mshwari. I had loans on what is that other one? Um, Mshwari, Mobica. What is it called? I had small mobile loans here to there, and then you know these small loans are very addictive. Today you are borrowing from one, tomorrow you pay at an interest, and then you end up borrowing from another one again. So I wish I knew that small profits add on to big profits and that they would help me grow out of debt. And being debt free is the best feeling ever. I can tell you from where I sit right now, being debt free is one of the things that actually contributes to a very quality life. Just on a light note, of late my friends have been telling me, Cynthia, you are glowing. Are you pregnant? Nowadays, if people glow, they are pregnant, or you have a lot of money. But that is not the case with me. Personally, if I'm glowing, if you really feel like I'm glowing, it is because I'm living a debt free life. And what has helped me achieve this is the small retail shop that I run. The small retail shop that I run, trust me, the small profits that you get from a small retail shop will help you grow out of small debts. And small debts every other time are bad debts. You do not need bad debts in your life. Let me tell you what small loans do to you. You are out there, you are sitting somewhere decently, and then you receive a phone call. Hello, hello. Is that Cynthia? Yes. I'm calling you from XS office loans loans department, and I'd like to ask you, why have you not completed your loan? Imagine you are sitting somewhere, maybe you are even in a chama, and you are about to be given another loan. Then now the volume on your phone is quite loud, and people get to hear, hey, you have some loan that you've not even finished, and some of them get really nasty. If you have a small mobile loan, you know what I'm talking about. Some of them do not even have courtesy, and maybe you've not even repaid that loan because of one problem or the other. So now it gets very nasty, and sometimes you get even public embarrassment. I'm telling you, if I knew that the small profits that I will get from a small retail shop would actually help me move from a space where I'm so full of debts to a space where I have no debts at all, then I would have started sooner. Yeah. So the main point is that do not despise small profits, because small profits actually improve the quality of your life. If that is anything to go by, then if there's no other reason that you should start a small retail shop, and maybe you've been discouraged by multitude of people that you know there's that is a waste of time, please just start your small retail shop. Because if there's no other reason and you have debts, if you're someone who's wallowing under debts, then the small profits from a small retail shop, if you just commit to a particular pattern, you'll be able to repay all, if not most, of your debts. And that is something I wish I knew earlier. I could have just started a small retail shop way earlier. But better late than never. That's not what they say. Yeah, better late than never. And the third thing, on to the third thing that I wish I knew before I started a small retail shop is that it will help it if I knew it will help me look at life from a different perspective, then I should have also started earlier. You know, I'm doing this as a side hustle. I'm someone who's employed and I work at an 8 to 5 job. Then now I have to commit to something that is actually called an odd job. And now most of the time I'm the one who has to work on the orders. I have to organize on how supplies can get into the shop, however little, but it helps me look at life from a very different perspective. You know, when you are employed, you are sort of looking at things from a linear perspective, whereby there is protocol that has been laid down and you have to follow it to the latter. So most of the time you are not even thinking outside the box. You are just executing what has been laid down for you. And that is just how it works. You know, maybe you're working for a company and they are laid down expectations that you have to meet. You know, you have to get to work at a particular time, you are getting off at this other time. When you work on a particular day, probably you earn an off on another day. Then weekends you are not working, so your mind is sort of conditioned in a way that you are not actually having an opportunity to think outside the box, depending on where you're working. I'm just narrating what is applicable in my case. So now when I started this thing, then I realized that it's actually, every operation actually depends on me. And I cannot step back and say that, I'm not working tomorrow, it's a Saturday, I'll just sit in the house and watch movies. I do not have that leisure anymore. I do not, sorry about the wind. I do not have that leisure because actually this side hustle is now looking at me squarely. So now I have to think through. I find that it engages my mind in a very fresh way. It keeps me engaged and I keep thinking, how can I improve this thing? I'm not saying that where people are usually employed, you do not want to make it grow. Of course, you are also thinking, but it is not, I hope you understand that it is not actually on you. They are policy makers at some level. Unless you're the policy maker in your company, then that will be different. In my case, I depend on policies that have been laid down from a higher level, and then now that trickles down to me. And personally, I just get to execute what has been laid down. But in this case now, I'm the manager, I'm the chief executive officer. Oh, a very small business. Someone should hear me what I'm Someone should hear what I'm saying. But yeah, that is the situation. It's actually funny, but it's not funny. Every single decision making that is involved in my small retail shop is actually upon me. And I have to keep improving myself every day and finding out ways that I can actually improve the small business. And that brings a very fresh look on things. It helps me look at different things from a whole new perspective. And it's something that now gives you, motivation, because you want it to grow. You want to see, is this thing really possible? Yes, it is possible because I've moved from this level to this level. And now, how can I make it better? And then now that brings in that is the best part about it. It's the best part about it. Yeah. And on to the last point, so that this video is not any longer than is necessary. I'd like to say that there's nothing like perfection. You can plan all you want, you can plan and consult and strategize all you want, but before you start something, then you've just not started. And as soon as you start, there's nothing we call perfection. There's never perfection. There's just daily small improvements every day, but there's nothing like perfection. And even along the way, I wish I knew that as much as I thought I'd polished everything and now I was ready to start, there is actually still failing. Today you will have something in order, tomorrow probably it is out of order. Let's just say something like stock. Today you may have some money maybe from a chama and you stock up your shop so that you feel, yeah, I'm now on the right course. I have almost everything that I need. Tomorrow some emergency occurs from nowhere, somewhere, something you didn't even foresee. Then you have to check out some amount of money. Yeah, that is just life. I'll not lie to you that there's perfection. Until you run a shop and then the capital that you started with is only just growing, and you never dig. Sometimes you get needs and you don't have any other source of money. You dig into the shop, but I try as much as possible to replenish it whenever I can. Yeah, theoretically people say, oh, just make sure the running capital, you keep it intact, otherwise the shop will fall. Life life is not perfect. You realize life is not perfect, and so in these imperfections, then now there is perfection. Because when you go low, yes, let's say today you go low, tomorrow you try as much as possible to rise from your low, because how can you know you are high if you've never touched down? You have to touch down sometimes so that you rise. That is the only way you know that this one works, this one does not work. If I get to eat into some of the profits too much, then the shop is not working very well. If I invest most of what I have and replenish the income, then plow back the profit, then of course it gives a better outcome the next day. And so, what can I say? I'm not sitting here feeling very justified that I'm now making it, or my small retail shop is working. So I feel like I'm justified to sit in front of multitudes and talk about my prowess. No, I'm just sitting here because I'm imagining the situation that I was when I wanted to start, full of debts, without options, and really without a sense of direction because I didn't even know who to look up to, aside from a few researches that I did here and there. And so that gives me a bit of justification that I can sit here and talk to someone who might be in a similar situation like what I was in. This small internship may not really make me rich, but what it can do and what I've seen it do is that it has actually gotten me out of debt, and that is just one thing that has added quality to my life. And if it can do a similar thing to you, then I can sit here and talk about it and hope that you take the message home and try to implement it so that your life can also take a turn, just like mine did. Yes. And with those many remarks, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for your viewership. I'm very grateful that you get to give me thumbs up every time you watch the editions that I put on this channel. And I'm very grateful that even as I continue, you'll still keep it here so that you see what I have in store for you. So I wish you well, and it is goodbye for now.